True, part of survivalism and what a lot of people like to think about is that guy out in the woods who knows how to live with nothing but a pocket knife and off the land, carving out of trees and picking berries off the ground. And yes, wilderness survival and medieval survival technology is important, especially if you are someone who goes camping on a regular basis. If you're someone who spent your whole life living in the city and you have no intention of moving out to the country and you don't do a lot of camping, guess what? Those skills are pretty limited. And yeah, they're still important and they're still applicable in an urban environment, but not nearly as much so. In today's world, if you choose to live in the environment that most of us are choosing to live in, you have to be prepared for modern preparation and modern survivalism. Can I have one of the extra handouts? I'm assuming there's a couple extra handouts there, and I will just go down the list from there and talk about some of this. Modern preparation and modern survivalism is a lot easier than people think. It's not about being a tinfoil hat wearing nut job. It's not about conspiracy theories and government plots and alien invasion. Okay, realistically, you look at your life from a preparatory standpoint as what affects you the most and most likely, which gives you kind of a standard. The emergencies and bad things that you need to prep for as they're going to happen, which means the least effective is most likely to happen to you, and the most effective is least likely to happen to you. A good example is most likely to happen to you is lose a job and can no longer provide finances for your family. Given today's economy, very likely to happen, should be the first thing you're preparing for. Other end of the spectrum is a solar flare knocks out all electricity and power on the entire planet and throws us into the next post-apocalyptic warfare. Most effective. That will alter your life the most out of anything that could happen, but is the least likely to happen. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Now, I'm not debating any science or anything, but it is much, 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 much less likely to happen than you losing your job and not being able to put groceries on the table. So you prepare for the least effective but most likely first, and then you move up the line. In starting to do this, I put together a little list, initially starting with the best way to get prepared. And this is the best way to go. Take an inventory of your home, and that means everything. What is in your home? Food, resources, utilities. What do you have that you can use if things went bad or not? If the power was out for the night, do you have candles? Do you have flashlights? Do you have batteries to run your flashlights? Do you have any type of emergency radio type situation? Do you have basic first aid supplies? You know, how long can you go? If the lights were out overnight, would you be fine? Would it really matter or affect your family if the lights were out for a day?
It depends on what time of year it is.
Well, yeah.
And Rex is scared of the dark.
And Rex is scared of the dark. Well, yeah. That's okay. Well, then Rex needs to have a candle and some flashlights.
It may be different. It may be different if you're somewhere where it's 40 below at night.
That's right. If you're somebody where it was 40 below at night, it is going to be different. You're going to have different supplies on hand. But then you ask yourself, if the lights went out for the night, am I really affected? If the lights went out for 2 days, am I really affected? If the power went out for a week, am I really affected? If gasoline was at a shortage and every trucker in this country went on strike, in 2 days the grocery stores would be empty. If the truckers went on strike for 2 months, could you go 2 months without putting groceries from the grocery store on your table? These are things that are very effective that could easily happen, that have happened before in this country, including worse.
There they are.
And they happened before in a time when, as a people, we were much more prepared as a culture. America used to be a very prepared people. We were based on it as a culture. We have pulled away from that. We have pulled into a culture now where all of us go to the store every day. Where there are people in LA and New York, these fashionistas, who have kitchens that they use to store their shoes in. I mean, I don't know if you guys have read this. It was on CNN a few weeks ago. These people have emptied out and unplugged their refrigerators and stoves and are using them to store extra clothes and shoes. They don't have food in their home at all. If the power went out for a day, they'd go nuts. If the power was out for a week, they'd be dead. If grocery stores stopped getting food and truckers went on strike, their neighbors would eat them. That would be their relegation in life. Okay, as warriors, we shouldn't be those people. We should be the ones, the lights go out, we don't care. Lights are out for a month, no electricity, I don't care. No big deal, good to go. Well, there's no groceries at the grocery store, that's okay. I have plenty of food in the pantry, I got stuff in the freezer. You know, our neighbors have got stuff we trade between. We all know each other and we go back and forth. We can be good. Those are the kind of things we look at. Take an inventory of your home, everything you have and what you don't have. What should I have? Do I have a first aid kit, and is it fully stocked? If it's not, well, maybe that's the first thing I should be looking for. How much food is in my pantry? Do I have canned food? How much canned food do I have? If I have a family of 4, is there enough food in my pantry and my refrigerator for us to go 3 or 4 days without hitting the grocery store? And if not, why not? And what should I have there? Do I have an alternative power supply? I mean, literally, is my car battery in the kind of shape, if I had to take it out of my car and hook it up to a radio, do I have a converter, and will my car battery last long enough to hook it up to a radio and find out what's going on because the power's been out for 4 days? That kind of thing. Journal items you use on a regular basis. Keep a good journal of everything you use all the time. If you eat a lot of stag chili, that should be on your journal. If you never eat rice, but you've decided to store food and you have 50 pounds of rice, okay, maybe you shouldn't buy any more rice. Okay? If you're of the idea that all I need is a 72-hour or 1-month case of C rations or MREs from the military, I'm going to go out and spend $2,000 and shove that in my closet, I'll be fine. Dude, have you ever eaten C rations, or MREs? Because if you don't eat them on a regular basis and you don't know if you like them or not, that's a really big waste of money.
They're good on occasion.
Yeah.
Camping and
Yeah. Those are the kind of things. So you want to keep a good track of what do I use on a regular basis and what do I hardly ever use. The stuff you use on a regular basis you should have more of and should be rotating. And the stuff you hardly ever use, is it long-term storable? Can I just buy some of it and stick it in the back and I don't have to worry about it? And if I ever do use it, I'll just go out and replace it then. That's the kind of thing you keep in mind. Commit to copy canning. This is a big thing that I push to a lot of people. Copy canning is a rotationary supply of your pantry. Canned and dried foods that you use on a regular basis. You should be going to the grocery store, and every time you go to the grocery store, if you eat a lot of stag chili, every time you go to the grocery store and you say, oh, well, I'm low on stag chili, I'll buy a couple cans, buy an extra can. Just one. Even if you don't normally I buy 2, so I'll just buy 2. No, buy 4. Put the 2 in the back. And then every time you go to the store, buy an extra can that you would normally buy, and then stack it in the back. And everything moves forward. You use the can, pull them all forward, you get more, you put them in the back. You do that with all your canned and dried goods. What that does is that gives you a supply. Once your supply is built up to a point where you're comfortable, and it doesn't have to be that much, it could be 7 cans. Well, now when you go to the grocery store, now you're only going to buy the stag chili when it's on sale. And when you get your copy canning up to a point where you actually have a pantry that's full or almost full, you get to do that with everything. Because now you're not going to the grocery store out of need. You're going to the grocery store to see what's on sale. And you're only replacing the stuff you're short on because it's on sale. So you're getting your best price, which is saving you money. Saving money should be a primary example of modern survivalism. If you can save money, you put it in the bank. The more money you have in the bank, the less need you will have down the road. That's accomplished by streamlining things. Streamlining things you can streamline. Copy canning is a great way to bring your grocery costs down. Plus, if you've got a full pantry and the grocery store's run out of food and the power's out for a month, you really don't care. And it doesn't take a lot of space. I've got a pantry on the inside of my house and a pantry out of my garage. My wife and I have been working on copy canning for the last year. In the last year, we have provided enough food in copy canning alone to feed my family for 6 months. On top of that, we have long-term storable food in beans and rice. And by beans and rice, I don't mean pinto beans. For crying out loud, they sell more beans than that. We have like 8 or 9 different kind of dried beans that all store forever that can be cooked up for different things. We have 4 different kinds of rice. We have bagged sugar. We have bagged flour. We have whole wheat grain. Then on top of that, I actually have some freeze-dried foods like Mountain House Foods and freeze-dried meals. I've got about 400 meals worth of stuff. It takes up this much space in my garage. It never goes bad. Doesn't need to be temperature controlled. It's the last thing I'll eat. Sometimes we take it camping. I've tried all of it. I only buy the stuff that I know me and my family enjoy and will eat. Never goes bad. If I ever want to replace it, I can, but I don't really have to. Between all of those things in 1 year, without spending really hardly any more than we normally spent going to the grocery store anyways. I'm talking about a few bucks extra. $5 here, $10 there, extra when we go to the grocery store. In a year, I can feed my family of 4 for a year just off the food in my house.
Nice.
That's it. I have more than 400 gallons of stored water at my house that I spent less than $50 for the containers. Through the year, people are giving stuff away. They want to trade something. I have this whole system of giant food-grade plastic cans on the side of my house. I hook up my outdoor water spigot to it, and then I hook up a spigot on the other end. Every time I water my garden, every time I use water outside, every time I turn on my irrigation, that water is moved through those containers, so it's always kept clean, it's always kept new. Power goes out, water goes out, all I go out is shut that spigot off. I still have gravity feed on the other end, and I have 400 to 600 gallons of usable water. On top of that, I keep at least 3 cases of bottled water in my garage. I have 10 5-gallon canisters of purified water that I fill at the water store once every couple of months. It costs me less than $15. And then all my freezers are lined on the bottom with bottled water frozen. Makes the freezer use less electricity, and it keeps extra water supply in my house. These are easy things to do that we just built up a little at a time. Little at a time, that are very simple, that keep you prepared for whatever goes bad. It also reduces your cost to live in an urban environment. Develop a blackout kit. This is a basic kit. Again, we talked about the lights go out. Develop your blackout kit basically for the lights out in a day. A couple of flashlights, maybe a lantern, a few candles, a wind-up radio, something to entertain your kids or yourself with. Just a basic box that's in one space that you know where to go to get it if the lights went out. Once you've got that expanded, if the lights are out for a week, do I need some extra batteries in this kit? Do I need some food? Should I put a box of granola bars in here? You know, just something in this blackout kit that's not meant to subsidize your house living. It's just meant for that emergency if the electricity's out. And we got ours up to about a month. And after that, if the lights are out for a month and there's no electricity in this city for a month, I'm probably not staying here.
Right.
I'm probably not going to be here for a month. The lights are out for a couple weeks and nobody knows when they're coming back on. My ass is gone. So I figured a month in a blackout box, pretty safe, pretty good to go.